What's going on, everyone? I am the YuGiOh Scrub, but you all can call me Bailey, and it's another return video, but not me returning after 2 years of not posting, just like a week and a half, 2 weeks, I don't really know for sure. It has been absolutely hectic with this holiday season. Personal stuff with me and my girlfriend, everything's alright, we're all good, no real health problems, we're fine, thank you for asking. But it's just made it a lot harder with work as well to, come home and film videos when we have other stuff we need to do that frankly is more important. Not that I don't love making videos for you all, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do. But today, on December 24th, I have an opportunity to film something real fast. Don't know how many I'm going to be able to film because I still have a lot that I need to get done, but we're going to film something. I actually did make a video very well that never got posted because I was playing and then the guy went AFK and I was like, okay, whatever, maybe I'll use the replay for it. And then he came back and just started calling me racial slurs, and it escalated. I called the judge, whatever, but it made for not a good video. It is what it is. People are going to be people. Don't condone the behavior, but what can you do? But it ruined the video, and so that would have been up. But we were playing this deck, and this deck is something that I don't want to say I'm proud of, because I don't know if someone should be proud of something like this, but it's an interesting deck nonetheless. You guys can probably see what it's trying to do, but we'll talk about it real fast and then play. We have triple Mask of Darkness and triple YuGiOh to continuously flip the Mask of Darkness down and keep getting those pluses, getting traps. What traps are we getting? Well, we're trying to get Time Seal and or Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, because we don't want my opponent to draw. We want to just limit them from the game, say the resources you have are what you're going to be stuck with, play the game and see how it goes. We got triple Solemn Judgment, which is also incredible, because it's better than Solemn Judgmenting your opponent 3 times, doing it 4, 5, 6 times. It just says whatever your resources your opponent does have, you just say no to, and it's incredible. Triple Jar of Greed, just so we can make sure that we see these combo pieces, because we need the Time Seal, we need the YuGiOh Mask of Darkness. Something that has come up in the past, compared to Time Seal and Phoenix Wing. Time Seal obviously just stops your opponent from drawing. Phoenix Wing says your opponent draws a card they've already seen, but if they don't put anything on the field, then you can't Phoenix Wing anything. And so my opponents have been able to kind of get around my lock when it's using Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, just by not putting anything on the field, but oftentimes I draw the Time Seal and then I can get the lock going that way. Double Sakuretsu Armor, just because we do want to be able to protect our Mask of Darkness. Obviously Mirror Force with just better Sakuretsu Armor. Ray of Destruction, and 1 Desert Sunlight, because we absolutely do not want Mask of Darknesses getting Nobleman across outed, so the Desert Sunlight's a little bit of protection there. Also could play Compulse, but we would prefer to keep it on the field. BLS, Double Night Assailant, Sangam, Sinister Serpent, and triple Thunder Dragon. We're basically just playing cards. BLS because it's a win condition, and the rest are discard fodder, so we can get the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast lock going continuously. Other than that, the Trinity, double Upstart to see our cards, Nobleman across out, Premature, and Heavy Storm, just because most of our stuff is chainable, and potentially if my opponent has a bunch of cards on the field, we can just use Heavy Storm, get rid of a lot of their resources, and then lock them out with the Mask of Darkness lock. But let's go ahead and just join the pool, because I need to film and get this up so you guys have something to watch. Know that I'm not gone forever again. I would never leave you guys. You mean too much to me. But what I am going to do is wish my opponent some luck and fun. I lose the rock, paper, scissors, but I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Nice little slurp sound. Coffee. The holy drink. Let me know. That's a question for you guys. How many of you drink coffee, tea, nothing at all? I love me some water. I'm not a big alcohol drinker. I had a beer for the first time in a long time a couple days ago, I don't know, the 20th. It was fine. It's not that I, hate it, but it just doesn't do it for me. I don't feel any real desire for a beer. Okay. We will start with Upstart Goblin. Opening hand is double Phoenix Wing, Mask of Darkness, YuGiOh, Nobleman across out. Considering he's unlikely to set anything, we will set the DD Assailant, Nobleman across out it, attack for 11, end our turn, setting Sakuretsu armor. I'm a little afraid of Heavy Storm. I'm also afraid he might have his own Nobleman across out, which is why I don't want to set the Mask of Darkness right away. We draw Knight Assailant. Okay. So, I get Trap Dust Shooted. Still afraid of the Nobleman across out, but I might have to just make do by setting. I don't really don't want to set the Mask and have it get Nobleman. I would love to set the Knight Assailant. He takes the Tsukiyomi. And we will set the Knight Assailant and end. Hoping that this gets Nobleman across outed, because I can take that trade. It's still not ideal, but I believe it's significantly better than my Mask of Darkness, which is exactly what happens. So, gets rid of both my Knight Assailants, which does suck because we lose 2 good cards that Phoenix Swing could work with. We'll go ahead, risk a second Nobleman, but he's already used 1. If he has 2, he has 2. Can't do much about it. Mind Control. Well, sucks a little bit. He'll get back his Trap Dust Shoot. Hopefully we draw it into like a Jar of Greed next turn. And okay, perfect. We draw Pot of Greed, so Dust Shoot fizzles, hitting nothing. We'll use Pot of Greed, drawing 2 cards, getting Judgment and another Mask of Darkness. We will attack. And I think we'll set the Heavy Storm, trying to bait him into setting another back row or 2. He sets 1 more back row and ends. We draw Jar of Greed. We will attack. Setting another Mask of Darkness and another trap in the Jar of Greed. I'd like to get use from this Sakuretsu armor, especially knowing he's playing what looks to be either Banish or Earth aggro, because Sakuretsu armors are good against things like DD Assailant. Exiled Force. Alright, he just trades with the Mask of Darkness that was set. We draw Sangan, that's fantastic. So we'll go ahead, we'll normal the Sangan. He Mirror Forces. But that lets us get a Sinister Serpent. And we will set the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. We draw BLS. Do we have a Light Engrave? No, I don't think we do. Not yet. We'll activate the Jar of Greed. Get a Ring of Destruction. Sangan, Double Mask. I would love to get a light, we just don't have one yet. We'll set Solemn and set the Ring of Destruction, just in case he draws a heavy storm. We now have Solemn Judgment. I would love to use the ring before the Solemn, but you don't always get what you want. We will just go ahead and ring the DD Warrior Lady. Using ring instead of Sakuretsu armor there, just because Solemn will now not hit us for as many life points. We'll upstart Goblin, getting the Thunder Dragon that we so desperately need. We will discard Thunder Dragon, getting ourselves 2 more Thunder Dragons. We will then activate Phoenix Wing, putting that backer on top of his deck. And okay, well there's game. I understand why he solemned. He obviously didn't want and my opponent quit. Okay, we'll do one more match. I understand why I solemned, because he didn't want to put the Solemn on top of the deck when he had nothing. He needed to be able to get draw. But it shows you why this deck is so powerful, because drawing a card every turn is the best way to get resources. Obviously, there's Pot of Greed, there's Graceful Charity, but you can't rely on just your spells and traps to see new cards. Sometimes you have to just hope for the luck of the draw. And when you tell your opponent you're not going to see new cards, it really forces their hand on how they can deal with the situation that in front of them. So, we got a nice game there. We'll do one more match, but don't know how long it's going to end up being. Opening hand looks pretty good, though. Nobleman, Time Seal, Ring of Destruction, Knight Assailant, Pot of Greed. They set one back row and end. And we'll go ahead and upstart Goblin, getting a Solemn Judgment. We'll shuffle to show that maybe we drew the Pot of Greed, getting Mask of Darkness and Knight Assailant. I think we'll then just go ahead and set Time Seal, set Judgment, set Ring of Destruction, set Mask of Darkness, and end. If he heavies, that's fine. I will Ring of Destruction the DD Warrior Lady. We draw Thunder Dragon. Getting ourselves 2 more Thunder Dragons, thinning our deck even more. Wish we had a Tsukiyomi, but we do not, alas. We will Time Seal. And then we will flip summon. And, okay. People, see, they don't like playing against this deck. And I don't blame them. Who wants to get Yada locked in GOAT format? But we'll try for one more match. I apologize. I do have a replay, so if this next person quits, or it's another really... You know what? Unfortunately, I am looking at the time. Like, I need to do other things. But we will look at this replay that's using this deck. So, you know, it's a little bit different than my normal gameplay. So, I win the rock, paper, scissors in this replay. Opening hand is Thunder Dragon, Mask of Darkness, Upstart, Tsukiyomi, Phoenix Wing. They have Faith, Thunder Dragon, Chaos Sorcerer, Snatch Steal, and the Nobleman. honestly don't remember how this goes. I draw a Delinquent Duo for turn, so obviously smack him with a Duo right away, hitting Snatch Steal. And that's right, he discards the Nobleman, which is perfect, because when I see you discard a Nobleman, I get it, you don't know what I'm playing. I probably would have discarded maybe the Faith. I suppose he's thinking too, Faith can get back whatever he needs, but I see Nobleman hit the grave, and I'm feeling good, because that is one way to get rid of my Mask of Darkness that is gone. I discard Thunder Dragon, getting 2 more, and then Upstart Goblin, setting Phoenix Wing and Mask of Darkness. Excuse me. He discards a Thunder Dragon, getting 2 Thunder Dragon, and he drew Graceful Charity, so absolutely fantastic for him. Graceful gets Jar of Greed, Tribe, and Chaos Sorcerer, discarding a Chaos Sorcerer and Thunder Dragon. Setting the Jar of Greed, and putting a Chaos Sorcerer on field right away. Setting the Magician of Faith. He goes Battle, and I just put that Chaos Sorcerer on top of his deck. Something interesting with this deck, and I know it's somewhat interesting, but when you put the Chaos Monsters back, especially if they do something like this, where they are putting the Chaos, like now, basically he's going to draw a dead Chaos Monster, long story short. It makes you in an advantage where they have to continuously put their cards to the graveyard, their lights and darks, in order to really do anything. I hit over the Magician of Faith. He gets back the Graceful Charity. I probably would have gotten back the Nobleman, knowing that you have a really good target in the Mask of Darkness here, especially seeing my deck is kind of a flip control deck. He Jar of Greeds, drawing the Chaos Sorcerer, and this is something I remember having. He has not clicked end turn, but then Graceful Charity, so he draws 1, draws 2. Let's actually wait. I wish we could go back. I think he should have drawn 1 more now that I think about it. Because he drew 3, but the Graceful Charity draws 3, but when he clicked end turn, that drew him a card for turn, and he's not under Time Seal. So I think he should have drawn 1 more. Kind of crazy the fact that, like, I don't know. I mean, I get you get back your card on the end phase, but why did he play it? Like, go to main. Yeah, that's why you need to use your phase buttons. Go, click standby, click main, and then start your plays. Because he might have gotten 1 extra card deeper into his deck, which, now that I think about it, could have changed everything. So we Upstart Goblins and Pot of Greeds. You know, he's seen a bunch of cards. He gets, hand now for him is Tribe, Faith, Serpent, Knight Assailant, Chaos Sorcerer. And he's put in his graveyard a Thunder Dragon and a Gravekeeper Spy. So that's kind of what I'm saying. I mean, he's obviously had his lights with the Magician of Faith I attacked over. He had Thunder Dragon, so we knew those were in the grave. But his darks are a little limited right now. He has Gravekeeper Spy in there, but he has to banish it in order to summon the Chaos Sorcerer. He tries to attack over, and I Phoenix Wing, putting that Chaos Sorcerer back on top of his deck, and I get back the Phoenix Wing with the Mask of Darkness. So now, I Premature Burial, getting back Thunder Dragon. This was he had a couple different options. I could have just Tsukiyomi'd and attacked over the Tribe Infecting Virus, but then I'd have no monsters on the field. I could have Premature Burial, bring back the Mask of Darkness, and then flipped that and gotten that loop going again. But I really want to get the Tribe Infecting Virus off the field for obvious reasons. I don't want him having monsters on the field. The only ways I could have done that would be the Thunder Dragon, Premature Burial, Crash, Tsukiyomi attack, or Ring of Destruction. Looking back, maybe the play would have been Premature Burial, bring back Mask of Darkness, summon Tsukiyomi, set the Mask of Darkness, and then Ring of Destruction, the Tribe Infecting Virus, and standby a draw phase, sending it to the graveyard, and then I would have the Mask of Darkness to potentially get back. But the problem there, I suppose I would have had the Thunder Dragon, actually no, not in hand. I would have had nothing for the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, and that's what I'm thinking here, is I wanted to get the Sangan attack in, taking 600 and searching myself, I believe, Sinister Serpent, yep. So now I get the best discard for the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, because it's just never an actual minus. And opponent left the duel, came back. I just had to quickly show him exactly what happened, where I attack in with a Thunder Dragon, Crash the Tribe, and I set Ring, and I set the Phoenix Wing. So that was a play I made because I wanted to get the Sinister Serpent into rotation because I had the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. He sets a Knight Assailant. I draw Solemn Judgment, set the Solemn, He now sets another Magician of Faith. His hand is Chaos Sorcerer, Sinister Serpent. I draw another Knight Assailant, or Knight Assailant my own, not another, I should say. He flips. I Solemn his Knight Assailant flip because I didn't want to lose my own Knight Assailant, and I'm thinking I'd be able to go for a pop. He flips his Magician of Faith, getting back Graceful Charity. I just special summon it because for whatever reason he sent it to the graveyard. I think it's just kind of, activate. Like, most of the time it's getting attacked over. You don't really flip it yourself. So he Graceful Charities, discarding Sinister Serpent and Dekoichi, setting a Jar of Greed and Regeki Break and a Dekoichi. Doesn't attack. He Regeki Breaks in standby, discarding Chaos Sorcerer, hitting my Knight Assailant, which is unfortunate because I would have hit his Dekoichi face down. I upstart. Don't really have a great card here because Tsukiyomi obviously would have to either target itself or Magician of Faith. I suppose I can set the Tsukiyomi as well, but don't really want to do that. So I upstart, drawing a Solemn Judgment. I do end up setting the Tsukiyomi just because I haven't seen anything with big attack besides his Chaos Monsters. The Gravekeeper's Spies are not gone, but I figure that Tsukiyomi is going to be a decent wall right now. It can just keep flipping itself face down if attacked into. He draws Heavy Storm and Tsukiyomi. The Heavy Storm draw was from the Jar of Greed. I then, in standby, before he has a chance to flip, put the Dekoichi back on top of the deck with the Phoenix Wing Windblast. He does Heavy Storm, and I go ahead and Solemn Judgment it, putting myself at 1650, which is definitely scary because the Ring of Destruction, I'm very low life points, but I do Ring of Destruction the Magician of Faith as he goes to attack it, or not attack it, flip it face down with his Tsukiyomi. He then banishes, attacks, and I put the Tsukiyomi face down with my Tsukiyomi, draw Mask of Darkness, and that's game 1 that I lose. So maybe could have made some different plays there, but ultimately I just got outgrinded. Opening hand here looks okay. BLS, Thunder Dragon, Serpent, Tsukiyomi, Sangan, Jar of Greed. So good monsters. I got my discard fodder going, but I just don't have the Mask of Darkness. I don't have Phoenix Wing. I'm very low on traps, which is the unfortunate part. Also, I have Sangan and Sinister Serpent. Sangan obviously can get more than just the Sinister Serpent, but the Sangan is in theory there just to make sure I get the Sinister Serpent. But in this case, it might be able to get me a Mask of Darkness. So I discard Thunder Dragon, getting myself 2 more Thunder Dragons, summon Sangan, and set Jar of Greed. He sets Torrential, Jar of Greed, Dekoichi. I draw Phoenix Wing, set the Phoenix Wing, and I tribute for the Thunder Dragon, because I just wanted to get the search right away. And I do attack with the Thunder Dragon over the Dekoichi. He draws a Pot of Greed from that. He Jar of Greeds, getting a Chaos Sorcerer. So this deck doesn't have a huge problem, but because they're playing Jar of Greeds, that is pretty good against my anti-draw deck, just because even if I do Time Seal you or Phoenix Wing you, you can see cards using the Jar of Greed. He draws Thunder Dragon for turn, getting 2 more Thunder Dragons, spinning his deck, Pot of Greed. So if you look at this, you're wondering, like, how can I win? And frankly, I don't even remember how I win. He then Heavy Storms, I Phoenix Wing, and Jar of Greed. So I put whatever was on his back, or I think it was Jar of Greed, Regeki Break, probably not Jar of Greed. But I, chain both my cards. This is something that is pretty powerful about this deck, too, is Heavy Storm isn't that effective. Yes, I'm running Sakuretsu Armors and Mirror Force, but you can play around things like with Phoenix Wing and Jar of Greed and just make sure that you never actually lose to Heavy Storm because you're getting pluses. He then banishes for Chaos Sorcerer, setting Magician of Faith, and he attacks over the Thunder Dragon. I think that's fine, considering that I did have a light in grave already. So I draw Solemn Judgment for turn. I get back my Sinister Serpent, and I go ahead and summon BLS. Obviously gonna banish using the effect in banishing Chaos Sorcerer. I would love to banish the face down, but I just can't afford to do that because then I would lose my BLS next turn to the Chaos Sorcerer banish. I go ahead and set Jar Greed, Solemn Judgment, and set Mask of Darkness, and end my turn. He draws the Torrential Tribute that was set. Flipping the Magician of Faith, I go ahead and Solemn that, losing 3,650 life points. He Mind Controls, takes the BLS. He does have a trap, so he has the Jar of Greed. Would it have been better to take the Mask of Darkness? Maybe. It would stop me from getting a trap. Does he know it's a Mask of Darkness? I don't think he does, unless he just assumes it's a flip monster because of the game's last game. But, I don't know. I think BLS is too big of a threat. I think I understand taking the BLS to banish it with the mind control. It's just an automatic 1-for-1 that you know you'll get versus a potentially dead face down. So, it is what it is. He goes ahead and then sets the Sinister Serpent and Torrential Tribute. I draw Jar of Greed and Solemn Judgment, flipping the Mask of Darkness. I need Torrentials there, which is fine. I set the Phoenix Wing and Solemn. He draws Jar of Greed, gets back Sinister Serpent, sets Jar of Greed and Night Assailant. I Phoenix Wing, pitching the Night Assailant, putting his Night Assailant on top of the deck, getting back the Mask of Darkness with the Night Assailant effect. I think he then asks, yeah. Does he? Yep. He's then wondering how I took the Mask of Darkness again, and he just didn't realize that I discarded Night Assailant. I let him know it's all good. Obviously, it is just quick explanation. He Jar of Greeds, getting back his own Night Assailant, and gets a Delinquent Duo, which is fine. I do think here, because I really don't want to lose my Tsukiyomi, and I do Solemn Judgment the Delinquent Duo. Because I cannot risk. My whole game plan right now is using the Phoenix Wing and doing this whole play where I Phoenix Wing as monsters and make it so he's not drawing any cards. But to keep that loop going, I have to have Tsukiyomi. So he sets a card. I Phoenix Wing, discarding Sinister Serpent. Draw Sakuretsu Armor, get back Sinister Serpent. Flip the mask, get Phoenix Wing. And you guys kind of can see from here. Tsukiyomi flips Mask of Darkness face down. I go ahead and set 2 cards. He draws the Night Assailant, and this is what I was talking about earlier, where now he just doesn't put anything on the field, which is a really, really smart play by him. He's really only risking taking 900 damage, or actually 1100 per turn, just because I want to keep that loop going with Mask and Tsukiyomi. So he's not really at a major risk of dying here, but by putting something on the board, he would never see new cards. So he's making the smart play by not putting anything on the board. I flip Mask. The problem is here is now that I know there's nothing on the board, and he knows I have a Phoenix Wing and Wind Blast set, I can just get back Solemn Judgment, and it becomes almost impossible for him to do anything. Yes, I'm at 1,825 life points, which is very low, but what's he going to do? And now I just get cards to say, whatever you play, I can say no to. So I attack for 1,100. Go ahead. I set the Ring and Solemn. The Ring's a little bit risky, just because I'm so low on life points. He gets a Magician of Faith. He does the same thing here. Puts nothing on the board, because whatever he puts on the board, I would just go ahead and get. I get another Solemn Judgment back, because why wouldn't I? But I drew a Time Seal. And so, like I was talking about earlier in the video, now he just gave me enough time, and I get this Time Seal loop going. He does get Regeki Break, which I believe he doesn't set. Actually, he can't, because I would just Phoenix Wing it in end phase. And then I Time Seal and show him that, yeah, it's over. He admitted defeat there, because the Time Seal loop becomes the new loop. So, Mask of Darkness, Time Seal, Night Assailant, Tsukiyomi, Upstart Goblin. Opponent opens up pretty well. Gravekeeper Spy, Serpent, Dekoichi, Jar of Greed, Regeki Break, and Graceful Charity. Drawing Sangan, Chaos Sorcerer, BLS, discarding BLS and Sangan, so he can then summon the Chaos Sorcerer. I get it, he wants to put the Light Engrave. I hate discarding BLS. It feels so bad. It is by far the best boss monster in GOAT format. It's able to just banish, especially face downs as well, knowing my deck loves to put cards face down. And he has Regeki Break, Jar of Greed, Dekoichi. I probably would have tried to just wait for the Thunder Dragons or Faith that you'll have at some point. You're running at least probably 3 Thunder Dragons, probably 2 Faiths. I would have waited, but he didn't. He decided to discard the BLS and just summon a Chaos Sorcerer right away, setting Regeki Break, Jar of Greed, and Gravekeeper Spy. I draw Graceful Charity of my own, getting Mask of Darkness, Sangan, Nobleman a Crossout. I think about what I want to discard here. I believe I do Night Assailant Mask. Yep, just so I get as few negs as possible. The Night Assailant gets back my Mask of Darkness. I Nobleman his face down, in case it was a Faith. And I just realized, so we only kept 1 Spy, and that seems a little weird. I was imagining that he had at least one in his hand, but I suppose not. I was like, okay, maybe he sided one out, but no, nothing. So then I upstart Goblin, set the Mask of Darkness and Time Seal. And I believe here he Regeki breaks, hitting the Time Seal and Jar of Greeds, getting Snatch Steal, and a Magician of Faith draw. So that's what I'm talking about here. I mean, he got a Magician of Faith pretty quickly after, using his cards. And so if he had BLS still in hand, then, yeah, he wouldn't have the Chaos Sorcerer on the field, but he would have gotten the light that he needed pretty quickly. He sets Magician of Faith and just attacks over the Mask of Darkness. I get back the Time Seal. Draw a Jar of Greed. Set Jar of Greed, Sandgan, and Time Seal. He draws Thunder Dragon. So now you see here, like now he has more lights. The BLS would have been able to banish the Sandgan. Would have been able to banish the Mask of Darkness last turn. Actually, maybe not last turn, but what can you do? He uses Magician of Faith, gets back Graceful Charity. Graceful Charity, drawing Jar of Greed, Delinquent Duo, Regeki Break, getting both its Thunder Dragons to grave. I Jar of Greed in response to the Delinquent Duo, just so I have an extra card to protect some of my more important cards, because I didn't want to hit my Tsukiyomis. I suppose, really, the only reason to Jar of Greed there would be to protect my Mask of Darkness, because if he hits a Tsukiyomi, then I can discard Mask of Darkness. If he hit Mask of Darkness, I obviously would have to discard one of the two Tsukiyomis. There was no possible way that I'd lose both Tsukiyomis. But he hits one Tsukiyomi, and I discard the other. So it really made no sense. I ended up just discarding both Tsukiyomis anyway. I don't know if that was the correct play to Jar of Greed in response, but it's the play that I made. He goes ahead, sets Dekoichi, Jar of Greed, and Regeki Break. He then attacks Sandgan. I get myself Sinister Serpent because I have the Phoenix Wing. And I draw another Phoenix Wing for turn. I Time Seal. Set both Phoenix Wings and Mask of Darkness. He Jar of Greeds, Regeki Breaks. And I don't know if this was the right play. He hits one of the back row, which was one of the two Phoenix Wings. He doesn't know how to start the turn without drawing, so just tell him that there's the button. He Dekoichis, gets Heavy Storm. He Heavy Storms, and I put that Chaos Sorcerer back on top of his deck. He attacks with the Dekoichi. I get another Phoenix Wing. Get Sakuretsu Armor, Standby, get Sinister Serpent. And he draws Chaos Sorcerer return, getting back Sinister Serpent. So we're down card advantage. He summons a Serpent. I eat 1,400 plus 3, 17 in total. Not 17 total, 2,000 total. Draw Thunder Dragon, get 2 more Thunder Dragons. Serpent attacks the Faith because I have other discard fodder. And I go ahead, I don't want him getting extra pluses, so I top deck the Dekoichi that he flips face down with the Tsukiyomi, and he attacks for 1,400. I believe I don't Sakuretsu Armor the Tsukiyomi. Interesting. I don't know why I didn't do that. Because I'm bad, but... Get Premature Burial. Tribute for Thunder Dragon. He goes ahead. And this might have been, I don't want to say misplay, but I did click Battle. He didn't specify Ring of Destruction in Battle. He kind of did it right when I summoned it. So I went back to main phase 1. He didn't say anything, absolutely, because the timing of Ring of Destruction. He could have done it in battle phase, but he didn't. I attack over the Dekoichi. He gets a Jar of Greed. He then enters. I think I didn't Sakuretsu Armor because I needed a way to get the Chaos Sorcerer off the field, knowing that that was coming. I take 300 from the Serpent. Draw Nobleman across out. And I get rid of my Knight Assailants. He gets rid of a Knight Assailant. He Jar of Greeds, gets Pot of Greed. How do I win this game? I don't even know if I do. He gets Upstart Goblin. I get some more life points, which is important. Gets Card Destruction, Chaos Sorcerer from the Pot of Greed. So this is when I go ahead and Sakuretsu Armor. He attacks for 300 with the Serpent. And he summons Tribe. I get Solemn. Yeah, I think I lose here. I think this is what's going down. Nice, Solemn Judgment. Yep, okay, so he ended up winning. I don't know why I thought that this was a match that I won. But you guys did get to see that second game. The lock happen. I don't know. Could I have done anything differently here? I think he did just have pretty good draws, pretty good plays. The Regeki Break, Jar of Greed stuff definitely can hurt this deck because chainable traps are this deck's bane. You want to play against things that don't have anything chainable, so you can just put them continuously on top of the deck. Also, obviously helps going first. This made me think about taking the Desert Sunlight out for just a more proactive, maybe the third Sakuretsu armor, but that Nobleman threat is always there, and it's just so scary that I don't know if I can actually take out the Desert Sunlight. But let me know what you guys think about this deck. We'll go ahead and just show it off again real fast, because that's what we do. Click this button, and maybe not, because maybe it's not going to connect to now. Well, thank you all for watching. That's me. I apologize that this video is up, not late, but just, 2 weeks later than any other video. But if you guys want to see more, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.